are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Have a seat wherever you feel comfortable. Oh, how are you?
I'm okay, thanks. This is a nice place, roomy, you know?
Oh, this whole thing? I like to get comfortable. I like to keep it comfortable for folks. If I could talk today, oh my gosh. It makes for a better experience for everyone.
For sure, for sure.
So, I know that you've been introduced to me virtually and over the phone, but just to make things official, my name is Jefferies, and I am the counselor that you have been assigned for your outpatient treatment here.
Oh, okay. I was confused because I had a woman do my intake and I was like, huh?
Yep. That can all be a little confusing. Leslie was your intake counselor. Then you get moved to a personal counselor for the outpatient treatment. Then you have rotating counselors for the group sessions. It can be a lot of faces and names, absolutely. But as long as things work out between us today and you feel happy and comfortable, I'll be your primary counselor for the duration of your outpatient. Okay?
Okay, yeah, cool. It is a lot of people here, but everyone has been super helpful so far. Thanks.
Oh, our pleasure. We are here to help. Our primary goal and focus, before all else, is helping you. We and I specifically want you to feel comfortable throughout this entire process. So, if at any time you have any questions or comments or concerns or anything of that nature, communicate them with me directly or with any member of our staff, and we'll get those addressed in a timely manner for you. Speaking of that sort of housekeeping stuff, I see that you signed your initial paperwork and got our agency's informed consent policies in that. Did you have a chance to adequately review those, and did you get a hard copy for your records?
I know I signed something, but I didn't really read the whole thing. It's a lot of words, you know?
Yeah. I absolutely get it. It can be a lot, especially whenever you're checking in and you're getting asked questions and there's a million people and everything else going on. I get it. However, I do think that it is important that you kind of know what happens in therapy as well as in our outpatient program here before we go any further.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
All right. So the first thing that I want you to know is that anything you share with me in our sessions is completely confidential. It stays between you and I, pretty much, period. There are some exceptions to that rule. Specifically, if you state that you are planning to harm yourself or anyone else, if you are presently abusing a child or an elder and you have plans to do so in the future, or if I am contacted by an authorized third party that you would have given disclosure rights to us at New Hope to disclose information to. There are a few other exceptions that are exceedingly rare, and those are all listed in the informed consent papers that we'll give you a hard copy of before you leave the facility today. Otherwise, everything you say stays between you and I, okay?
Got it, yep.
Perfect. As you know, here at New Hope, we provide both inpatient and outpatient rehabilitation services for substance use disorders and addiction treatment. Here at New Hope, we firmly believe in the disease model of addiction, which means that there is both a physiological and psychological component to the disease, which need to be treated at the same time, concurrently, in order to help you out. We use diagnosis of addiction and other mental disorders here as guides to help structure your recovery, and for some insurance purposes. Some insurance carriers like to know these sort of things. Any diagnosis I recommend should be consulted with a second opinion from a psychiatrist, another mental health professional, and also, very important, all diagnoses are really used to kind of help us structure your program of recovery. They're not designed to disempower you or make you feel helpless in any way, and they're not really there to be an excuse for any undesirable or maladaptive or destructive behaviors. You are in our intensive outpatient program. Let me see. You are in the 12-week. Okay. So that's three 3-hour group sessions with up to 3 20 to 50-minute sessions individually with us per week. for 12 weeks. If you cannot make any of your scheduled sessions, group or individual, or you're going to be late, or the cows didn't come home, or whatever it is your responsibility to inform us at the facility so that way we can document your absence. We can work with a call and a documented excuse, but no call, no shows don't really work for us at the facility or for your insurance carrier. Okay?
Insurance?
I know. It's all the worst, but do you understand?
For sure, but I understand.
Perfect. All right. Awesome. The last thing I verbally want to go over with you before we continue is that you are in charge of your treatment here. If at any time at all you wish to change, alter, or adjust your work here, all you need to do is ask or say or communicate your needs, and we will do everything reasonable and within our power to help you out. Okay. In my practice here, I use a eclectic approach of treatments and techniques to help you in your road to recovery. After getting to know you a bit today in this session, I'll share some ideas with you at the end of the session of what your treatment might look like going forward, so you have all the information that you need to make an informed decision about whether or not you feel that we are a good fit. If something I'm doing is not working for you, it's confusing you, it's making you uncomfortable, what have you, all you have to do is let me know, or let my supervisor Quentin know, or one of the other counselors, whoever really, and we'll make sure that information gets to the right place, and we can make changes, adjustments, or even just give you an explanation, just really whatever we can do to help you.
Absolutely. Sounds great. I've never done nothing like this, so I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited.
Music to my ears. Last thing, I promise. There are random drug screens in the form of a UA that you will take while you're in our outpatient program here. If you test positive at any time for any substances except, say, like nicotine and caffeine, without a prescription and without our knowledge, it could result in termination of your program. Please note, and this is important, that our facility does not accept medical marijuana cards, medical marijuana prescriptions as an excuse in testing positive for cannabis as a substance, as it is not a substance that New Hope currently allows in our treatment program or facility, okay?
I got ya. I understand.
Great. There will be a more in-depth explanation of all of the things I just said and everything else in writing in the folder that we will send home with you today. Any other questions I can answer for you before we begin?
No, I don't think so, at least. If I come up with something, I'll ask you if that's okay.
Of course. As I said, this is your treatment, your recovery, so questions are always welcome and you're in charge. Okay, so I read your intake paperwork. Thanks for filling that out like you did, by the way. There's a lot of places we could begin, but I'd like to start wherever you feel comfortable starting.
Well, I'm not really sure. I've been struggling for a while now with so many different things. It's hard for me to find exactly what is wrong. I'm overwhelmed. I can't hold down no job. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointing my daughter, and I'm failing.
When did these feelings of failure, being let down, of feeling overwhelmed and consumed by everything begin?
They started when I was a kid. I dropped out of my junior year after I got caught up popping pills at school. I got suspended, and just like that, I didn't go back. Me and my boyfriend at the time had to go and share a vehicle, but we got in a car wreck and I fractured my right leg, and I couldn't walk for a month. The doctor prescribed me pain pills and I got hooked. It became a problem before I even knew it was a problem. I still feel a lot of anger about the whole time.
That's completely understandable and valid. I know I look back at some of the choices and situations I've been in my life, and I feel a lot of self-resentment and sometimes resentment towards others about those things still. But it takes work to learn to handle and overcome them, but it can be done. Were the pills your first encounter with drugs, or did you use anything before that?
Well, I smoked a lot of reefer before I got into the pills. I started that in middle school. I was dating some dude who was older than me and dropped out his high school sophomore year. I thought he was cool, sexy, he had that car, thug, you know? He had that lifestyle that a young girl from the barrio like me thought was it, you know? Like, he made me feel like I belonged somewhere and something for the first time in my life.
Let's talk about that. Belonging somewhere. Where do you feel like you belong today?
Not therapy. I don't know. I don't want to sound ungrateful for nothing, but I just never thought I'd be here. I don't know what to do with my life or where I belong anymore. I don't want to keep using and keep this lifestyle, you know. I just don't know nothing different. I don't know how to be a mom. I don't know how to work like I should. I don't know how to get through the day without pills and fentanyl. I just don't know no more.
Well, I'll tell you this. I never thought I'd need therapy either, but look where I am today. So tell me, Flora, if you could belong anywhere, change anything overnight to make your problems go away, what would that look like in your life? What would be different?
Where do I start? Shoot, I'd have DFS off my ass and I'd have my daughter back. She's with my parents now, safe, but she'd be back with me. I'd have my own apartment and I wouldn't be suffering and surfing between my friends, a dude, or in a trap. I'd have a stable job, nothing big, but something where I could help people. Maybe a nurse or something. I'd have a stable income and support myself and my daughter and help my parents out. I'd be able to deal with the pain and memories and not think of them no more. You know, for once I'd be happy. Things would be stable and safe.
Safe. Sounds to me like you've got like you've got a pretty good idea of what you want your life to look like, how it would be different. What in your mind is holding you back from getting to that ideal picture in your head today?
The pills, the fentanyl, I just can't stop. When I'm high, everything just fades away. Pain goes away. I don't have to think about all the sadness and the suffering or nothing. I just can't let go.
Addiction is a beast. I know. I'm in recovery myself. I've had to learn a lot and grow a lot in order to get where I am today. Have there been times in your life when addiction wasn't so much of a problem for you? Times where you were able to, say, hold down a job or be the mother to your daughter that you know you want to be?
I was able to stop using while I was pregnant with my daughter. I held down a job during that time at the mall and had an income. I lived up with my parents and they don't allow no drugs in the house. They're Catholic, so they think it's the devil and all that. My mom was really proud of me during that time. She was still hard on me, and I always saw that look in her eyes. I was going to go back out. I just could see it that she thought it, and I did, I guess. But for that moment, I just saw a little bit of hope in her, you know?
Yeah, that's amazing that you were able to stop for any period of time and start making choices that were conducive to a more manageable life for you. That's an accomplishment. What about that time, other than being pregnant with your daughter, helped you stay off the drugs?
It was the bit of hope in my mom's eye. It was the good feeling I got from going to work and having a paycheck, getting savings. I was checking out some groups like NA and Celebrate Recovery. I was looking at schools to get my GED and seeing how I could become a CNA or even a lab tech someday. I had visions and goals. That all went away when I went back out using.
Those are all really amazing tools that sound like they really helped you to stay on the path of recovery. Are there other times that you've strung time together and stopped using?
Yeah, a few months here and a few months there. But life always shows back up, and I always go back out. It's a cycle, you know, a damn cycle. It destroys my life.
I want to talk more about that cycle. But first, I want to ask you, what were you doing in those few months that helped you stay off the drugs?
Those same things. meetings, parents, being with my daughter, seeing the future, and all that stuff.
So, it sounds like you have an idea of the tools that you need to help you get started in getting to that ideal picture in your head. And it sounds like you know what the problem is keeping you from that, your addiction.
Yeah, I know all of that. I just don't know how to stop and stay stopped. I don't know how to deal with the overwhelming pain and anxiety that always comes knocking.
Yeah. It's that pain and anxiety then that kicks off that vicious cycle of your disease every time.
Exactly. I'll be doing so good, and then some trigger will come along. Hell, sometimes there isn't even a trigger. I'm just hitting up the plug, and the next thing you know, I'm swallowing a pill or shooting a shot.
When those triggers come, what do they feel like?
Shoot. I don't know. I feel like I'm a little girl again. I feel all alone. I feel like I'm scared, like I want my mom or my dad. I feel like I'm lost and just so alone, just running from the boogeyman or some stuff.
Yeah, I can see how tense you're becoming talking about that. The rise in your voice and your chest got tight and your shoulders are tensed up. I felt it in my body too, honestly. Would you try something with me? I know it's going to seem a little silly, but I'd like to give it a shot.
I guess. What are we doing?
So, it's called an experiment. It's meant to help you get out of your own mind and help you make some connections that maybe you already knew and maybe you didn't. But like I said, it might feel a touch silly, but I'd like to give it a try with you.
Okay. I guess I'm here already, so what can it hurt?
Right, yeah, perfect. Well, I appreciate your willingness to try. It's a great sign. So we're going to do something called some 4-7-8 breathing to get started. So what you'll do is you'll close your eyes for me and you're going to take a deep breath in through your nose for a count of 4, filling up your lungs and stomach like a balloon. So like, and then we're going to hold there for a 7 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do it with our lips slightly pursed. We'll exhale on an 8 count, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And once we do that, we'll relax completely into the chair. So I'm going to tap, and you'll follow my breathing. In for 4, hold for 7, then out for 8. Okay? All right. So in. Hold. Exhale. One more. In. Hold. And exhale.
I'm ready.
Okay. I want you to become your trigger to use. It might feel weird at first, but I want you to take all those thoughts and feelings, that history that are in the trigger, and embody them as if you are really it, as if it has become your person right here and right now. Speak to me as if you are that trigger, and as if that trigger is you in this moment come to life.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, how are you feeling?
I'm angry.
You're angry.
Yeah, I'm pissed.
Why are you pissed?
I'm not sure. This feels weird.
I know. It always feels a little bit weird at first, but try and stick with that feeling for me, okay? Why are you pissed?
How could I do this to her? How could I scare this little girl? Scar her? How could I steal her innocence and ignore her? How could I?
What happened to the little girl?
She was stolen from? I took from her. Her whole life she was changed because of me. I'm angry that I harmed her, and no one listens to her.
What was stolen from her?
Her innocence. She was raped. I did that to her. And I took everything from her. Now she's got to suffer. No one will listen. No one listens. No one cares.
Who specifically doesn't listen to the little girl? Who doesn't care?
Mother. Her mother looks at her just like she's a liar. So she is one. She was stolen from, now she steals. She was left alone and now she is alone.
Does the little girl have a name?
Yeah, she's Flora.
Flora. What about you? Do you have a name, Trigger?
It's foggy. A memory, I guess. You can call me the neighbor, I guess.
Neighbor. Okay, neighbor. I think I've learned enough for now. Thank you, Flora, for really connecting in that experiment. That was brave and more so than I expected you to do that on our first go around, honestly. So let's repeat a few deep breaths using that same count like we did in the beginning. I'll tap again, and then you'll come back to the session with me right here and now, just in this moment. So in, hold, and exhale. One more. Hold. And exhale. How are you feeling, Flora?
That was weird. I felt like this rage that I'd been hiding for a long time, like it was so pissed about what happened to me when I was a kid. I thought I had to let that go, but I suddenly felt so pissed and so angry again.
Well, that's like I said, that's very brave, and I'm proud of you for connecting with those feelings that maybe you had stored away for a long time. I do think that it is important for you to continue to name what happened to you, as long as you're comfortable with that.
Name it?
Yeah, calling what happened to you what it is, rape. It's a horrible thing for anyone to go through, especially a little girl. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like it has greatly affected your way of thinking and being to this day. Would I be correct in that statement?
Yeah. It made me feel small and tiny and silent. My mom never acknowledged that it happened, really. I think to this day she thinks I'm making it up or lying. I moved away after I told her, but I don't know if it was because of anything I said or because we were so broke all the time. It messed me up,
Absolutely. Such a traumatic event would completely change anyone's world. Even more so if it happened to them like it happened to you when you were so young. I know it's painful, but how vivid are your memories about what happened to you?
Honestly, it comes and it goes. Sometimes I feel like I've completely pushed it out of my mind. Other times I can still see his face staring down at me as he did what he did. I can remember the first time especially. I remember knocking on his door asking him for a Coke because he always had Coke for the boys that were playing ball on the court in the middle of the apartment complex. He invited me in to have one and asked me if I was hot. It was summer, so I guess I was. I can't remember exactly how it all happened, but I was in my panties before I knew it. Then I was on his couch and he did what he did. He made me get dressed and made me promise that I would tell no one. He said that it was a special secret, and because of that, if I told anyone, bad stuff would happen to my family. He sent me on my way with a soda and I cried myself to sleep. Our apartment, it was too small for my family, so I can remember my mom coming and saying, "Iha, why are you crying?" I told her that I had a bad dream, and she told me that it was a sugar high from drinking all the Coke, and I cried even harder. I did it, and then at least 10 more times over the course of maybe a year. I was caught again over at his house by him, and I told my mom what was going down, and I only did that because I came home bleeding one day and she asked me what happened and I narked. I remember crying for a week after that, afraid my family was going to die because I had told it and I had messed It messed me up.
Yeah. Well, Flora, thank you for sharing that with me. That took a lot of courage. It sounds like this is a pretty clear recollection for you still. Are there any other memories that stand out to you as important from when you were younger?
The car accident in my junior year, for sure. My first blunt in middle school with my ex. The first time I had like real consensual sex with my boyfriend. When my parents moved from the complex to my abuela's in Kansas City, that was big for me, a big change. I don't know, I remember my tia's quinceañera when I had my first Modelo. It tasted like goat piss. I think that's why I never liked beer much. But tequila, got me started. There's a lot of blurry memories in there. I remember small things so much, but so much of it feels like a dream now, you know?
Yeah, those are all important memories that we'll look at more in detail if you decide that you'd like to continue with me on this journey today after today's session. Each one has an important meaning that can help us to understand some of your ways of thinking, being, and acting in the present today. I know that they can be painful to remember or look back on, but oftentimes what we discover through that work is so rewarding and revealing that it can really change our perspective on things for the better. But here's the big question I have for you, Flora. How would your life be different? Specifically, what would you be doing differently if you no longer had your struggle with addiction? If you didn't have that struggle with the cycle of pain and anxiety that comes from what you've been through?
Well, like I said, I would have my daughter.
Wait 1 second. I want to know what you'd be doing differently, not what you would have differently.
What would I be doing differently? Well, I'd be a mother. I'd be taking my daughter to school, helping her with her homework, teaching her how to be a woman and how to protect herself and respect herself. I'd be working toward my GED and looking at my options of becoming a nurse or helping others like that. I'd have a job and a stable income. I'd be paying rent. I would have a relationship with my mom again, and we'd be close like we were when I was a little girl. I'd be taking care of my health and to work on this hepatitis and be eating healthy. I'd be dating and looking for a good man that respects me and my kid. I'd be active in the community and going to church again. I'd be doing so much and I'm not doing today. You know, like taking care of myself and my body and my head. I get so pissed that I can't do this stuff, you know? Why can't I be normal? You know, why am I like this? Why do I deserve this punishment, you know? It's so infuriating and stupid. I hate it so much.
Yeah, that's valid. I hear you, and I understand that there's a gap between where you are and where you'd like to be. And I know firsthand that is immensely frustrating. I see, though, that you do have goals and ideas that you want to pursue, and you just need help finding the tools and leveraging your own assets to get to achieving those. It seems like maybe we've, perhaps, and I could be wrong, but it seems like you've lost some of that drive for those goals, or maybe set other things before those goals. I know that you have the assets and the capability to do it. You just need a little bit of a push and some help getting in the right direction. I can also really feel you getting worked up again there, and I see it in your body. I was feeling my shoulders tense up too as you were speaking. I would like to do another quick exercise with you, something that we'll use quite a bit in our work together, if that's okay.
Is it as silly?
Not quite. You will stay yourself in this one.
Okay, I'm down.
Awesome. I love your willingness to try new things. What I want you to do is put both feet flat on the floor and sit up and close your eyes. Taking a deep breath in, I want you to think about all those things working against you. Find that most recent and vivid experience of one of those things, one of those obstacles that sent you back into your addictive cycle, and hold it in your head there.
Okay.
Perfect. Once you've got it in your head, go ahead and raise your right hand for me.
Okay, I've got it.
Okay. Now take all of those feelings that came with that obstacle, the anger and frustration, the sadness and desperation, the rage and the pissed offness that come with it all, and channel that down into your right index finger, right at the tip. Feel it pulse from your heart and your mind through your shoulder, down your arm to your elbow, up your forearm to your wrist, and then through your hand to the pad of the index finger.
It's there. All right.
Good. Now I want you to depress that index finger as hard as you can into your right thigh and hold it there. Press down as hard as you feel bad, frustrated, and sad. We'll call this your depression button, your anger button, your addiction button, whatever you want to call it that feels right to you.
My using button.
Your using button. That's great. I love it. Once you feel you can press that button no more, go ahead and release. Shake your body out, and we'll continue.
Okay, I'm good.
Great. Now we're going to do the opposite. I want you to close your eyes and breathe in and think of a time when you were truly happy, a blissful time when you weren't using and things were going well. Maybe it's a little embellished or imagined even, but it feels great.
The birth of my daughter.
The birth of your daughter. Perfect. When you fully realized it, go ahead and raise your left hand.
I see where this is going.
Okay, that's fine. I love the intuition, but go ahead and raise it for me. Good. Now add those feelings. Add that warmth, the smile of your daughter, the smiles of your family in the room, feeling her soft skin for the first time, and the pure joy all of that brought you. Then just like we did with the right arm, channel all those feelings from the heart and mind down to the pad of the left index finger.
Okay, I'm there.
Good. Now press down that index finger on your left leg. Press down that button for as long as you want to feel those feelings. When you've felt them enough, you can release.
All right, that felt good, you know?
Good. Perfect. What will we call that button?
My EHA button.
Your EHA button. Perfect. When you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes and come back into the present with me.
Okay.
Awesome. So, you see now, Flora, you've got a couple of options. When those feelings come up, when you're triggered and the world feels awful and dark and lonely and depressing and gross, you can either choose to press the button on your right leg, your using button, and let it take you over and take you back out there. Or you can press your EHA button and try to remember that there are good things in life and that there's hope. You have a choice, and things don't have to be the way that they were anymore. There is hope.
I like my EHA button.
Wonderful. I'm hoping that you use it and that you use it often. I'll ask you during our work together what button you might be pressing sometimes. There are never wrong answers to that question, but there are sometimes better solutions than the way that we're currently thinking or acting.
I've never thought of it this way. Thank you.
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. Let's see. Well, before I move on and tell you a little bit about what our work together might look like from here, do you have any other questions for me or anything that you'd like to share before we do that?
Not that I can think of at this moment, not really.
Okay, well, if you think of anything, let me know. Let me first say, Flora, that through this session, I've really gotten a good idea of what a strong, independent, intelligent, and experienced person you are. You have been through a lot as a young girl and a woman, and I believe that you have a lot of assets that we can use as we move through this process together.
Thank you. I try my best.
It shows. If you decide that you would like to continue our work together, our next couple of weeks-ish, a little more, a little less, will involve a lot of work getting to know one another and understanding your story, understanding you as a person, your history, your family, your early memories, and some work with your dreams even. It will be a long feeling process, but worthwhile. We will cover a lot of ground, and we will tell your life story together so that we can get a roadmap of who you are, where you've been, where you're going, and where you are now in the present, and how we can help you discover hope and a new way of living going forward.
That would be so amazing.
There are, of course, no promises. I can tell you from my experience in recovery that I have gotten out of it what I have put into it. Change can be painful, but that pain will lead to true beauty. I know that much is true.
I'm sure hoping.
I'm hopeful for you. Once we've drawn that roadmap of your story, we will work together to find some key themes and patterns in your thinking, feeling, and acting that we can work with together to improve your life. I will help you at times to interpret and understand some of what you might be thinking or feeling, but I will depend on you to take any of that insight and interpretation and apply them to your actions, your motivations, and your goals, to see where they fit into your puzzle and along your roadmap, and see where there are opportunities for real change in your life.
That sounds good. I'm ready to put in this work.
Wonderful, because then will come the hard part.
Uh-oh, I spoke too soon?
Nope, don't worry. It's nothing you can't handle. We're going to take those insights, those new ways of thinking and being, and I'm going to ask you to take them and apply them in the real world. The world out there with all the people. I'm going to ask you to dig deep and to really think about your ways of acting and being and see where changes can be made. But do not fear, because during that entire process, I am going to be by your side and I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader in your successes and in your failures.
I'm nervous, but anything has got to be better than what I've been living.
I absolutely agree, because I've been there, and I've got complete faith that you'll try your hardest to make this work for you, and improve your life, honestly. I'm also encouraging you now verbally, and I will encourage you and follow up with you on this, to start attending NA, Celebrate Recovery again, or whatever recovery program, group recovery program you feel works for you. It's the whole 90 and 90 concept. Addiction thrives in isolation, and recovery is the community that can help you defeat it.
Alright. Like I said, anything has got to be better than what I've been doing, and I'm willing to do what it takes.
Glorious. I'm so happy to hear that, Flora. I really am. If you need to reach me for any reason, you can either email me at the email address that is provided at the top of the informed consent form, or by calling the facility directly. Those will all be on the papers that we give you up front, the folder we give to you up front. Again, those papers have the in-depth disclosures, informed consent documents, all that stuff that we talked about at the beginning of the session. It also has all of your pertinent insurance paperwork, insurance, information about FMLA, short-term disability, if you need those things, as well as information about communicating comments or concerns like we talked about earlier, and then your patient rights will be in there.
Sounds good.
Great. Before I let you go and before I forget, I am notorious about that. There are a couple of questionnaires that I'm going to have you walk through with me.
Like a quiz?
No. Not at all. They're just a couple of ways that we go about tracking how you're progressing in your therapeutic work from session to session, week to week. They take a little snapshot of how you're feeling and behaving, essentially, and it helps us to concretely measure how you're progressing as we move along.
Oh, okay, that sounds fine.
Perfect. There are 2 questionnaires. The PHQ and the GAD. The PHQ is a personal health questionnaire, and the GAD is the general anxiety disorder questionnaire, and we'll do them in that order. For each one, I would like for you to consider how you've been feeling for the last 2 weeks. Not just today, not just in this session, but the last 2 weeks as a whole. Each one has the same rating scale. So it starts at 0, which just means basically I didn't feel that way at all. That feeling doesn't apply to me. That behavior doesn't apply to me. Up to 3. That 3 meaning that you felt it nearly all the time, nearly every day. 1 means several days, and 2 means more than half the days. Does that kind of make sense? Okay.
Yeah, it sounds good.
All right. The first question then. Little interest or pleasure in doing things?
Most of the days.
Okay, so we're at a 3 for that one?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, we'll work on that. Feeling down, depressed, or hopeless?
Nearly every day.
Okay, a 3 again. Trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, or sleeping too much?
Mostly every day.
3. Feeling tired or having little energy?
Every day.
3. Poor appetite or overeating?
Some of the days, what's that, a 2, a 1?
Would you say it's less than half, about half, more than half?
About a half?
Okay, let's just go with a 2 for that one. Feeling bad about yourself, or that you are a failure, or that you have let yourself or your family down?
3, nearly every day.
Okay. Trouble concentrating on things, such as reading the newspaper or watching television?
2.
Moving or speaking so slowly that other people could have noticed, or the opposite, being so fidgety and restless that you've been moving around a lot more than usual?
Nearly every day.
3. Thoughts that you'd be better off dead, of hurting yourself or someone else in some way?
Not often, just a couple of times. 1, I want to get better, not die.
That's wonderful to hear. 1. Okay. How difficult have these things made it for you to do your work, take care of things at home, or get along with other people? Not difficult, somewhat difficult, very difficult, or extremely difficult?
Extremely difficult. I'm sorry.
Hey, do not apologize. There's no need to apologize ever for saying how you feel. I need to know, and we need to know if we're going to be able to help you best, okay? Last questionnaire here. Just like the last one, over the last 2 weeks, how many days were you feeling nervous, anxious, or on edge?
Almost every day.
3, okay. Not being able to stop or control worrying?
3.
3. Worrying too much about different things?
3.
Had trouble relaxing?
3.
3. Being so restless it's hard to sit still?
2.
2. Becoming easily annoyed or irritable?
3.
Felt that? Just joking. Feeling afraid as if something awful might happen?
3.
3. Okay. All right. And how difficult have these made it for you to work, take care of things at home, get along with other people? Not difficult, somewhat difficult, very difficult, or extremely difficult?
Extremely difficult.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. Let me total these up quick. Okay. Well, as you might have guessed, you scored pretty high on both those assessments. But that's okay. That's normal, especially when you're just getting into life and recovery. There are a lot of new feelings, expectations, worries, just 1,000 new things that are coming at you, and you are not alone in the way that you are feeling. I can promise you that. I hope that we get the opportunity to work together on lowering these scores throughout the next 12 weeks. If you are ever in crisis until things start feeling better, you can call New Hope at any time. Just remember that number is on the front of the folder, and we will get you connected with the on-site on-call counselor or anybody who can talk to you to help. Are there any other questions before we wrap up today?
Just about scheduling my next appointment.
Yeah, right, of course. You will do that with Mary at the front desk. She's wonderful. I usually recommend that you go home, get some rest, and make any final considerations about whether or not you feel that we are a right fit for this process. if you're confident now, by all means, talk to Mary. She'll get you booked, and it will come up on my calendar. If you want that time, however, to consider things, it is yours to have. Just call the clinic tomorrow or the next day, or just notify us when you come next. Either way, we'll still see you for your group outpatients on Monday or on Wednesday and Friday of this week. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, thank you so much for all of this, and I'll get everything worked out, and I'll see you again soon.
Of course. Wonderful. Thank you, Flora. Do you hug?
Of course.
Okay, perfect. Come here. Well, thank you so much. You have a fantastic rest of your week, and I will, or day, I guess, and I'll see you later this week, hopefully, okay?
Of course. Bye-bye.
Bye, Flora. See you soon.